I recently got a legitimate pokeball pattern Vivillon from someone in France who went to the event. After receiving that Vivillon exclusive to France, I needed only one more special Vivillon to complete my collection. Nintendo stated that if the world could perform 100 million trades using the global trade station, they would distribute what they call the Fancy Pattern Vivillon to the world. An international campaign surfaced with the objective of getting us to 100 million GTS trades, and it was called Operation 666, named so after the number given to Vivillon in the National Pokédex. After the objective of Operation 666 was completed, Nintendo put the worldwide Fancy Vivillon distribution event into effect. Fancy Vivillon is available for any X and Y players who can connect to the internet. You will be able to receive that mystery gift until August 1st, 2014. As almost always, I did something special during this distribution event. I called my plan Operation 667 based on the fact that something called Operation 667 would immediately follow Operation 666, chronologically. For Operation 667, I obtained 30 Fancy Vivillons and put them in the Pokemon Bank. You probably know how this all works by now. In order to get multiple legitimate event Pokemon without cloning, we delete the file on one game over and over again, each time getting the event Pokemon and storing it in a game file that we do not delete. This time I had a digital version of Pokemon Y that I used as my reset game. I got it from the limited time special deal on the Club Nintendo website. In the past, resetting a game to get extra event Pokemon has taken different amounts of time. In Generation 4, it took approximately 15 minutes to start a game, get the event Pokemon, trade it to the storage game, and delete the file on the reset game. In Generation 5, that cycle took almost an hour, depending on how well you did in the first gym. This time, I believe it took about 20 minutes per event Pokemon. So resetting for events in Generation 6 takes about the same amount of effort as doing so in the Generation 4 games. And so I started getting Vivillons, and putting each one in the Pokemon Bank, which I used as a storage game. I considered this event as practice for the presumably upcoming Diancie event, and for Get Via Internet events in general. While I initially did a lot of event resetting at my house, I also did it in any place where my iPhone could get 4 or more bars of reception. You see, I am able to turn my phone into a Wi-Fi hotspot, which my 3DS is able to connect to. Each Vivillon I got while I was not at Team Unknown HQ traveled from the internet to my iPhone, through my iPhone, and into my Pokemon Y reset game. From there, I would send the Vivillon straight to Pokemon Bank. But that's when using a phone hotspot gets a little tricky. With less than 4 bars of reception, I was able to load Pokemon Bank successfully and move Pokemon around, but after you're done, you might not save properly if your connection is not strong enough. If you don't save properly, it means that the Pokemon you thought you moved into Bank wasn't actually moved into Bank. Furthermore, Bank will insist on you using the file you last connected to Bank with before you can connect with any other game. Let's just say that I ran into a little problem for that reason. At one point, I deposited a Vivillon and didn't notice that Bank didn't save correctly. I proceeded as if nothing was wrong, deleted the file on the reset game, got another Vivillon, and tried connecting to Bank. I got this error message. Since Pokemon Bank was asking me for a game file that I knew no longer existed, my only option was to search on the internet for the exact words of the error message, to find out what other people had done who had run into this problem. There, I learned that Nintendo has the ability to unlock your copy of Pokemon Bank over the phone. Within a few days, because of my busy schedule, I was able to get the problem resolved. and I then continued getting Fancy Vivillons. One way to avoid the problem I ran into would be to always connect with the game file that you are keeping before you delete any file. Otherwise, just be sure to pay attention to whether or not bank saved successfully. So yeah, I got 30 Fancy Vivillons. This Vivillon event is the first real event that we have gotten in Generation 6. Yes, I admit that there was a Torchic holding blazikenite event at X and Y's launch, but blazikenites will no longer be event-only items once the Hoenn remakes are released. This fancy pattern Vivillon event makes me wonder when we're going to get the diancie distribution event outside of Japan. Japanese trainers gain access to the diancie distribution starting on July 19th, when the 17th Pokemon movie starts being shown in theaters. When we get the diancie event, I will probably get 30 of them, and the same goes for if we get the Pokeball Vivillon event. The reason I believe this to be a possibility is that although the Pokeball Vivillon distribution was thought to be exclusive to Paris, the event has also been announced to take place in Japan. We might get the event and we might not, but if we do, I'll be getting 30. Before this video ends, I want to show you some screenshots that I made. Thank you for watching, and have a great day!